Cybernation Uncensored.
Episode of Tales from the Forlorn Dose. Hello, everyone. I am your host, Cyber Smiley.
I'm your co-host, Wisdom. Greetings, programs. We've got a pretty good show today. We're joined by Cyberpunk Red content creator and professional GM, Diamond Dust.
Welcome, Diamond.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I know, not the typical programming. That's tomorrow night. Anyway.
Yeah. So with all our guests, we do the full auto questionnaire, short, quick questions with short, quick answers. I'm no longer going to say there's one right answer because I've been voted down on that. I actually started taking started getting the statistics down on this survey, and hopefully I'll get that done probably this week. Anyways, so Diamond, first question. 2013, 2020, 2045, or 2077?
So, 2045.
Got it. Favorite cyberpunk role?
Netrunner.
Favorite piece of cyberware?
Ooh, oh, gosh. I gotta say, the Vic Jammer.
Okay. Favorite cyberpunk weapon?
The Sanru Ultracate.
Favorite cyberpunk red or 2020 book?
Favorite Cyberpunk Red or 2020 book? Well, personally, I've been listening to the audiobook. Listen up, you primitive screwheads.
Nice. Least favorite cyberpunk red or 2020 book?
Well, I mean, there's one yellow box over there, but ooh, that's a tough one because I'm still working my way through the 2020 library. But I'd say right now at the bottom of all this, I mean, Interface Volume 1's all right, I guess.
Yeah. Right. There's no wrong or right answers. Favorite Night City gang?
My favorite Night City gang, personally, Street Queens. We love our LGBT community.
Nice.
Nice.
Favorite mega corporation?
For me, one of my favorite mega corporations. I really like Zarafa. I do.
Okay.
Well, they're a neocorp, so if we're talking like the big guys,
I mean, a corporation is a corporation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Pan Am, Judy, or Rogue?
Judy.
Carrie, River, or Goro?
River.
Songbird or Reed?
I portrayed Songbird.
Okay. Lucy, Rebecca, or Kiwi?
Oh damn, Dorio's not even in the pile there.
Oh,
Wow.
you can say Doria.
I personally prefer Doria to Kiwi, that's for sure.
Yeah. Even though I'm a Netrunner fan, I absolutely love having just pure muscle in the party, so Dorio.
Okay.
Yeah, plus she's got the personality of the mom of the group, and you gotta respect
that. Yeah.
David, Maine, or Pilar?
Oh, Maine.
Smasher or Faraday?
Smasher or Faraday? I mean, Faraday's kind of a betting mixer. Smasher, of course, the legend. Adam Smasher.
All right.
Favorite cyberpunk movie, anime, or TV series?
Oh, Oh, this is a tough one, but
It is.
personally, I really do like the director's cut of Ridley Scott's Blade Runner.
Yep. It's one of the number one picks of all our guests.
But
Yeah.
the Blade Runner franchise itself,
Yeah.
I really like it though.
I mean, it's the visual forefather of all of it.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Both 2049 and the original, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yep.
Favorite cyberpunk fictional character?
Wood chipper.
Dick, Gibson, Stevenson, or Sterling?
Dick, Gibson, Stevenson, or ooh, I mean, I am really split between Gibson and Stevenson right now. I'm working through Snow Crash at the moment. But if I have to really go with it, Gibson.
Okay. Favorite cyberpunk novel?
Oh gosh. Oh, I mean, would 1984 count in this? Because
Absolutely,
yes.
100%.
All right. Between that and Fahrenheit 451, those two are good, but 1984.
Yeah, solid choices.
One of the old ones. Good. The classics. Favorite cyberpunk comic or graphic novel, if you have any?
I haven't really read too much, but I am interested to see what the 2077 books are. But I haven't really gotten into like graphic novels or comics.
Okay.
Suggestions are greatly appreciated. You can DM me on Discord.
Wisdom will give you a list.
Send me the reading list. I need more stuff to throw at my players.
Right.
That will require a conversation. Otherwise, you're going to get like 500 books.
Yeah. And the last question.
At the top of that list is Transmetropolitan, though.
Yeah. And the last question is Shadowrun Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk.
Yes, I've been voted down on that. I don't consider it. I consider it urban fantasy rather than cyberpunk, but it is what it is. So that is our questionnaire. On to just chatting with you, and can you kind of give us a little lowdown of how you got into tabletop gaming and cyberpunk?
All right. So tabletop gaming. To understand, I was from a part of the Midwest where D&D was like, no, we don't touch that. That's gambling. That's, other stuff. I get to college in 2017, and a friend of mine from marching band at band camp's like, hey, you might like this. How about you come to D&D club? It's the club I run. I'm like, okay, sounds good. And I ended up cutting my teeth on tabletop role-playing games with Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 edition in 2017, and then also picking up Pathfinder 1st edition in the mix. Really did not like 5th edition, though. So, was playing that, and the pandemic rolls around, and everything kind of lulls down to a standstill, and I'm working a night job, 12-hour nights, 6 nights a week. The typical time of the red, shift work. A friend of mine from the Philippines, because thank you Discord, or a few of them were just, hey Diamond, have you heard of Cyberpunk Red? And I'm like, what's Cyberpunk? It's like, do you not know about the video game? I'm like, the video game? So this is when it's first come to my knowledge that there is Cyberpunk 2077. It is the year 2020. And I had no idea about all this. And apparently these guys got their hands on the 2020 core rule book. I don't know how. I never asked the questions.
It came free with the video game.
Yeah.
Oh, it did. All right. I thought 2020 came.
I'll solve that mystery for you right now.
Okay. All right. So they get me into a game of Cyberpunk Red. And fantastic time. Where I first started playing as MedTech. Ran with our group from all across the world. A lot of us were night shifters, so we just happened to all be up at the right time. So we have that short stint. And then another GM from the local area, right when things were starting to be okay for us to gather, like in mid 2021, picks up Cyberpunk Red. And I ended up creating Diamond Dust. Like, Diamond Dust, though, she is my persona here on the net. She was originally my first netrunner, and probably by far, with some bias, one of my favorite characters to play as. And we dug into, the Scream Sheets, a custom adventure, and also Street Stories. Fantastic time. A lot of sadness. A lot of tears were shed at that table.
Yeah.
The long story short, a certain funny AI killed the person that apparently was really interested in Diamond, and she didn't know about it until it was too late. And fighting the Reaper was a whole experience. That was like, oh, this is Cyberpunk. And since then, I have just taken off at Cyberpunk Red. Like, this was the game that got me back into ttrpgs. About that time, Black Chrome was starting to make its way around, and I saw Rob Barefoot, originally known as Dice, doing teasers for it. And it was just like, oh my goodness, there's all sorts of more stuff going on here. And since then, I picked up, Cyberpunk Red is my go-to. And when I ended up running games for Cybernation Uncensored, and for a group I used to be with, now I just do it over on my channel. So that's kind of where we're at now, along with having an amazing podcast, which this is the one time I will promote it shamelessly.
What it up? Yeah.
Emeron, for those of you guys who may see him there in the chat, we're both co-hosts of the Wireheads podcast. We ended up meeting through Dice, and it kind of has become the hobby. It has become the hobby that's filled in all that spare time I've had, and now it's become my profession as a professional GM. So that's kind of how we're here and in the now.
Yeah, so I mean, for us, we long time, maybe even older than more than you've existed.
1999.
Is when you're really? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
That's my birth year.
Yeah.
I was
we
playing
started-
it 10 years before you, so
Yeah.
but yeah, so we've been here for a little
10
while.
years before you were born.
Yeah.
Jesus, we're old.
God, man. Where's my Bengay?
Yeah.
My cyber's already rusted.
Oh, there are wolves out here.
Meanwhile, I look at these 2077 players and I'm just like, you kids and your neuroports. This is how you're. This is how you're going to get caught. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I remember when all our cyberware was separated.
So you're kind of new to the whole cyberpunk scene.
5 years, yeah.
Yeah, that's, and it's so you were in, like Dice, because I know Dice was introduced through this computer game. It sounds like that was kind of this. You're saying.
For me, it was through friends, and I played the TTRPG before the game.
Excellent.
Okay.
I love seeing new blood into the game. It warms my heart in a very deep and fulfilling way to know that the franchise is living on. Because for a while there, the franchise looked like it was dead. Like nobody was putting anything out. There were just guys like me and Will who were keeping our websites alive because we still played the game even if nobody else did. But then they announced the video game, and like life was not only was life breathed into the franchise again, but it came back with a vengeance that we would have never imagined, like so far beyond the realm of what we could even begin to hope for, that I don't know. It's between this and everything that's going on in the world. I really think that, you know, when they started the Hadron Collider, it opened up some kind of fucked up like alternate reality. Because nothing makes sense anymore.
Mike is predicting things a little too often, a little too accurately. I'm like, yeah.
It's a little bit terrifying, and we didn't get any of the good shit. Like, there's no flying cars. I don't have a cyber arm. I can't replace my spine with some cybernetics.
I can't get, you know, a nice fresh pair of knees and some body sculpting. What is that?
I can't go to the casino in space.
Instead, we've got straight oligarchy and kleptocracy and corporations controlling absolutely every aspect of our lives.
Oh, yeah. President Kress. But that being said, like, also just seeing some people that come in from 2077, and I only say this with just a little bit of lightheartedness and cheekiness. We get the folks that come in there with like, oh, I want to just be like V, and I'm like, oh, you do not want to do that, my friend. That is a lot of cyber. Like, your empathy is going to go down the drain. Or it's like,
not to mention,
like David, like, whoa.
It's at best going to leave you crippled for life. At worst, it's just a death sentence. Like, why would you want that? Not even like a cool death sentence. Like, you're going to be replaced by some narcissistic schmuck from 70 years ago.
And then my wife had pointed out to me when, like, there was a craze of people asking about David's Sandevistan coming into my games, and it's just like, every person who has had the experimental Sandevistan has died a horrible death. Do you want to play that game? Like, and then there's the other people that are just like, what's Cyberpunk Red? And then I show them, and it's like, so you mean the corporations don't have their thumb on everything? I'm like, no, they don't have their thumb on everything. They're kind of at their knees right now, trying to get up. And
that's the one
I find getting them in there, it's a great time. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I think that was I think Cyberpunk Red kind of brought an interesting perspective of doing kind of a reset in the world. Because I know we've talked with, I think it was Benjamin, right? It might have been Derek Quintanar, around, you know, what was the fourth corporate war? Why was that there? And basically, Mike was looking to kind of progress the forward. And I forgot who mentioned it when kind of trying to plot out what they wanted to do with Cyberpunk. Mentioned, hey, let's blow up the world. That's the best way of changing it.
Yep.
So
Firestorm.
That came. But sequel wasn't well received with the 2030X.
Oh, am I
too quiet? Maybe I'm too far away. There's always that possibility that I have a problem of wandering away from my mic. So is that helpful?
Is it just him or is it everybody?
Well, you guys are in the yellow, so I assume it's me because I'm barely hitting.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Which means I have to talk into the mic and not look off to read something of our script.
Yeah.
So, sorry about that. I'm learning. only been 93 episodes. Someday I'll learn how to talk into a mic and pay attention. So, yeah, so the whole change of the world was interesting to see that evolution, and I think the people who were major critics of B3 saw Red as really a new, a better sequel, as it were, to the 2020. And then you, of course, you have new eyes like yourself coming into it.
Bringing in fresh perspectives and new blood. It's a good thing.
Lose you, Diamond? Or are you on mute?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. I have technical difficulties.
It's not a show unless something goes wrong somewhere.
Yeah, always. Always, man. So if you are talking, Diamond, I am not.
All right. Hello.
Hello.
there
there
you
you
go.
go.
All right.
Yay.
Yep. Just unplug it and plug it back in again.
Yep.
All right. So, yeah, like with
So for the 5 minutes that you've been talking,
I've been listening to you guys the whole time here. So,
okay.
I suppose yes, coming in here in Cyberpunk Red, where I don't really have a lot of details of what's going on in the 20s right now, as I'm still kind of working my way through figure out which books do I start with, because like I know about the Firestorm mission, where they've talked about the attack on Arasaka Tower, and I've also read the stories in Cyberpunk Red that talk about what Johnny's group A Team is doing, and maybe we'll get an answer to what C Team is doing at some point down the road. I hope so, because it's just like that would be awesome if we could see what the legend himself, Morgan Blackhand, was doing. Which, I mean, there's some speculation that the upcoming interface, my personal thing is with Interface Red 5, with Solo of Fortune 2045 coming, we're gonna get some answers.
Maybe
we've gotta.
That'd be nice. There's a lot of questions that have arisen since the video game came out about the aftermath of Firestorm. V3 had its own separate answers. Cyber Generation had its own separate answers, but like canonically, we got nothing. It's all a big lump of silence.
And we know that Johnny is an unreliable narrator.
yes.
Completely. Like that dude lies through his teeth.
And
some of it isn't even lies. Some of it it may be what he
thinks.
believes, but it's definitely not the truth.
And we get the story itself, and 2077 did our boy Shayton dirty. Like,
It did our boy Shayton real dirty.
Like, some people, like, if I sort of like, Shayton, you mean the Borg that gets knocked out at the beginning of that scene? Is like, yeah, no, this guy makes Adam Smasher have nightmares.
This is the guy who duked it out with Adam Smasher after he cut Johnny Silverhand in half like a bitch.
And like the fact that we have Shayton present and have a little bit of understanding of what Shayton's been doing. These are the things that I'm going back into 2020 to have a look at, and like reading on like the story of Shayton, where Adam Smasher had to be the answer. Yeah, unfortunately. But the fact that Smasher was basically the answer to Shayton, and even then it still wasn't much against the IEC Dragoon himself. It was just like, oh my goodness, like I want to see more of that. I want to see more of what brought us up to the time of the Red as well. Like we need more answers. Given we probably can't get all of them, that's totally fine. But as someone,
there's always going to be some level of mystery, because that's what makes it a good role-playing game.
Exactly.
But like, I want to know what the fuck actually happened to Yorinobu, because he's dead at the end of Firestorm. Like, he's been soul killed by his brother Kay.
Yep.
And then Kay gets soul killed by Spider Murphy. Like,
And then Spider Murphy, we don't. I got a feeling that Spider Murphy is recluse. It's a little too on the nose to not be recluse.
Yeah.
But
there's two people who can answer about Spider. One is Lisa, of course, who created Spider. And then there's also Dave Ackerman, who voiced Spider for the Guide to the Net supplement.
Oh.
Yeah. So those are the two people who know those characters, because we've talked about with Ben about Adam Smasher and his origin story, and yeah, he's a proud father of what CDPR did with him.
The Boogeyman.
Yeah.
But like I've looked, like when I played 2077, I've kind of looked at like how like the cityscape is, and now that most recently with Tales of the Red Hope Reborn, which for anyone that's listening, this is a mild spoiler for like 10 seconds. Woodland Park, the layout of Woodland Park seems pretty in line with what's there in 2077, because Jay and Rob were wandering around trying to find where it was supposed to be. Okay, that's it. All right. And I can't wait to see with the upcoming book, like, some more of those connections. But I really wonder, like, what from 2020 is stuck that made it into the 2070s, besides the corporations themselves. And, of course, we have Corporate Center. But Corporate Center had to be rebuilt. Alongside all that, though, one of the things I like with the Time of the Red is that some of the tech from 2020 is still around. It's relevant, and it can, and like we have old guns never die, so you can retrofit 2020 guns into red, or I think that's the right term, retrofit.
Sure.
If anybody has a better word for that, let me know, chat. Thank you very much. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of what I like with the Time of the Red is it's that perfect window of like, yeah, I know where some of this stuff came from in the 70s, but like now I need to go find this stuff from the 20s and the 20 teens and see what's going on back there.
Yeah, most of the weapons that came from 2020, at least the initial core book, were basically real world weapons, right? So 30 years in the future, you know, guns never die. I mean, 1911, I forgot how long it lasted in service until it was finally retired.
Sometime in the 80s.
Yeah.
Late 80s, replaced with the Beretta M92.
So a 70-year-old model weapon is still being. So, yeah.
I mean, we're still using the Barrett, or we're still using the 50 caliber M2 HB. That's
Medusa, the M2 Browning.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's been around since World War II.
Yeah.
And like even then, that's kind of how I looked at my players. Like, yeah, when you're at this night market, you don't have shiny new guns coming out of the Militech showroom, but you come across guns that work perfectly fine. Yeah, they're scratched up, but you put the bullets in there, it's still going to do damage.
Yeah. So moving along to another topic that, you know, I think a lot of people wonder about, especially when it comes to how, like you said, a lot of new people are coming in from 2077. So what are your thoughts on what makes a good gaming group for Cyberpunk?
Okay, so with Cyberpunk, there is like with any tabletop role-playing game, there is the social contract that everyone agrees to. You know, don't cross the lines, don't you know, mind the veils, and when things come up, talk about it. And I feel that is something important that everyone has to have an understanding with any of the dark future role-playing games, whether that be Cyberpunk Red, Cyborg, the Blade Runner RPG. Like the Blade Runner RPG, the opening mission, if you guys ever play it, it gets very dark right out the gate. And many other games that talk about these kinds of things, you have to understand this is something that does happen in this world. This is something that is not meant to be comfy and cozy. It is, but it's also one of those that you are getting into this game to go head on against this kind of stuff. And also on top of that, even though this game is grounded in, the way I put it, it's grounded in reality up to a degree, but also having that willingness to, let some things slide because nanotech, because insert, medical technology has developed so well. That's why, like, compared to 2020, in the time of the Red, you can be in and out of the hospital. Sure, you got to heal up your hit points afterwards, but surgery doesn't, just ruin your week when you get some new chrome because of the advancement of medicine. These are some things you got to look at, and also, just make sure that when you come to the table, bring your expectations, but also be willing to negotiate. That's some stuff that I found that's always been important, and especially for GMs, you have to be willing to negotiate. Where, and I think even Rob himself in his Listen Up article that he put out for Cyberpunk Red, don't use no as often as yes, but. That is something I found was very important when it comes to working with new crews. Allow them to explore. Maybe they come across barriers. And then there's just certain times where maybe it's not feasible. That's some of the big stuff that I've always looked at when it comes to any tabletop group gathering specifically for dark games. Safety, communication, and the willingness to adapt. That's kind of where I'm at.
Sounds like pretty good advice.
Yeah. Well, not only advice for players themselves, but also as a GM. I think that's,
it's just general good advice. Period. Like any game, like everybody's got to like. It's my thing is everybody's got to be on the same page.
Absolutely.
If somebody's expectations of what's going to happen in a game are wildly different than another's, it's very possible that nobody's going to enjoy it. So everybody needs to get on the same page, what to expect. There needs to be communication before the game.
And I think even like said in one of the books, if this is not the right game for you, go back to playing the Happy Elf game, which is kind of fitting because we have Elf Lines Online now in the time of the Red. But I feel it's important that, with games like this, your expectations have to be different. Especially one of the recent things that I've encountered, having a player that was just like, hopeful and wanting to cause like massive change for good and like open and like I like seeing characters come into Cyberpunk like that, where they have bright dreams of hope for better change.
Absolutely, the better to crush them with.
Well, that yes, but it also gives them principles and things that they are willing to fight for.
Yeah,
if they are willing to get scrappy and when all the cards are on the table, are you willing to take it to the edge? Are you willing to risk going over to get what you want to happen? That is the stuff that I eat up. But when it's just more that you enter a dark future role-playing game, but it's just like, okay, this is too dark, and we're like just skimming over the top of the pond, This is where, I take some time to, talk to the player and let them know that, this is what to expect in this game. If not, I am more than happy to help you find a table, because I've got connections to other tables that you'd like, which I ended up with this player. Like, it sounds like what you're looking for is like heroic fantasy. I would highly recommend go check out Fabula Ultima, which fantastic game, absolutely gorgeous. And they also even have a kind of a future, like, dystopian atlas as well with Fabula Ultima for those that want the urban fantasy. So it's just like here with like Cyberpunk, though, it's just always finding that right expectation, but meeting the party halfway is always important. Sorry, I'm kind of like going on the tangent there, but this has always been something important to me. Is just making sure the player dynamic is right.
Yeah.
The party dynamic is good.
Yeah, I mean, you're actually one of the first professional GMs I've ever talked to. So,
Okay.
as a professional GM, I think you probably have a lot more insight, because it's not like for just casual players who or casual GMs, right? Who have a group, we're friends, we've done this before, or going into like your local game shop and running a game there is a little different than doing it as a professional, because you have a customer that you now have to try to appease, and there I see that having quite a bit of challenges when it comes to trying to plan a game and making
Yes.
sure all the players are a right fit for a game
So-
that you plan on running.
There's this wonderful guy, actually, I met here at Cybernation Uncensored. Stink Palm 007, or Tracy Goodwin.
Yep.
We've had him over on our show. He was the one that introduced me to professional GMing. Now, before anybody in the crowd starts getting on about, oh, professional GMs, why? I enjoy GMing. I have a knack for it. I'm willing to do it. So why not sell it to people that want it? That's kind of part of how I look at it. But also it helps me find new experiences as well. But Tracy had introduced me to professional GMing, and one of the big things, especially with like appeasing the customer, with the group that with the platform I'm on, which is Start Playing, it's one of the more common ones. I think Demi Playing does it as well. One of the big things GMs have to do is make it very clear what is going on in this game. Like, what kind of content will we be exploring? Content warnings as well, which I feel content warnings are a great tool to help players understand and what to expect. They may not get the spoiler of what's going down, but it's just like, this is something that can and may come up. Is this a game that I feel comfortable playing? And that's something that I've always done on, any of my listings, where it's just, this is what the objective of this campaign is. This is what you will be doing. And if you feel that this may not quite fit what you're looking for, that's okay. There are hundreds of GM, hundreds of thousands of GMs across the world. There is a table for everyone. And if my table's not the spot, that's okay. No offense taken. I've had some players that are just like, Diamond, I like Cyberpunk, but this isn't what I'm looking for. I'm like, okay. I know some other awesome GMs. Here's who I'd recommend. So I've always believed, as a GM, put the game that you want to run in there. Unless someone books you specifically, put the game you want to run in the platform, so people that want to play that game come and find you. And then from there, you get a crew, you get your day of the week put forward, and outside the fees, it's very much like any other RPG game where like a lot of my players and I have developed really good either professional or even friendly relationships out of this. Um, and I mean, outside that, like professional GMing, it is a job, but it's also one of those jobs that I I feel it does require a certain set of skills for it, where you have to be willing to put the planning in. Like there is, like we're all GMs here in the room, correct?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So you wake up on the day of game and just, oh crap, I haven't planned anything. Ever had that day?
Always. Always have that day.
And that's
my typical game. I mean, I just roll with it.
And then there's also other days where I'm not feeling well, and like if I feel I am underprepared, underplanned for it, and I'll just be upfront with my players, like, hey, things got busy. This kind of this fell through. You guys won't be charged this week, and we pick up next week, or after some time, I have created like mission generators. So that way I have that. Am I a GM if I haven't GM'd in 3 years? Yes. Once a GM, always a GM. Once you are behind the screen, the secrets of the screen have been revealed to you. You cannot unsee behind the screen, PWB.
Yeah, and whether you you prefer to be a player than a GM, that's a different story. I love to be a player, but when it comes to Cyberpunk, I have very few friends who are willing to referee a game of Cyberpunk for the group. That's same true with because I'm right now running Call of Cthulhu. No one else runs that, so you have to pick. if you want to play your game, you have to become a GM at times, and
Yep.
like to your point, Diamond, the GM is a player as well.
Absolutely. If you're not having fun, like, and I say this to anyone that wants to become a professional GM, you got to be willing to have fun with what you're doing. Like, make this so that way you are also having fun too. Because, if you're just, creating heroic fantasy and that's not your thing, you're not gonna have fun with it. You're gonna burn out, and then do you come back?
Yep.
Your players come back. That is something important that I have had to learn is, I got to make sure I am enjoying this too, because I want my players to succeed, but also when the few times when my groups felt, death's bitter sting show up in probably some of the most epic ways, it creates some of the most memorable campaigns for these folks. And that's something I've always looked for. Affordable and memorable experiences with my games.
Yeah. Understandable. How do you deal with like unruly players, like even into your kind of
Even though they've paid to be there.
yeah, even though they paid to be there, they're a bit
I have a right to
distracting and
I have the right to refuse service.
yeah.
That is my end all be all. If you aren't going to respect the rules of the table, you aren't going to respect the rules of my community, and you are going to be like this, well, you don't get to come back to my table. That is, I don't care if you're throwing money at me. It's not a fun experience for everyone else.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's
I sound like a dirty corpo sometimes when I talk about this stuff, but it's just
I mean, contract's a contract. I've never done any professional GMing. It's not even something that's I've even considered. It just like money isn't why I run games. But I totally get, you got to make your hustle where you can make your hustle.
yeah. and also on top of all that, like, yes, I do make money from what I'm doing, but this is more I have found something I enjoy doing, and it just so happens I make money.
There you go.
I wouldn't say I'm a forever GM. I get my fix at least once a week of being the player, but like I enjoy watching the players' eyes light up. Like, I have a crew that is so new to Cyberpunk that I've been from my local area, and we've just started working our way. We are on the end part of Agents of Desire. I don't know if you guys have played through that mission or not in Street Stories.
Don't
I've read
think
it.
I have. Yeah.
So
Read it.
they found out what happened to the wife, and I hearing the table go, like, they were laughing like, haha, we're finding this guy's cell phone too. Oh, it was. And apparently it stuck pretty well. That, like, it sold them on this. And also, hi Oscar, hello. The but the big thing with professional GMing is you have to enjoy this, and also you can't just look at these players as customers. These are players.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's a little redundant, but they aren't just people paying you to change their tire. They aren't people that are paying you to, do X, Y, and Z. You are having to partake in at least a 3 to 4 hour social situation, like a 3 or 4 hour social activity with these people. You have. I found that, like, you'll find your people. The people that want to be here will be here.
Yeah.
I've had players come and go. I've only ever had to eject 2 players ever. And even then, it was for very, very egregious things that happened outside the table that is just like, no, that's not welcome here.
Understand.
So,
Yeah, we understand that.
We've all had those players that you're like,
Yeah.
we're not. I don't
We're
think
not
gaming's
playing
good
that
for us. I'll still be your friend, but no.
Or I won't.
Or I won't. Yeah, true.
well,
on the
it's just
offense.
like, and I guess as an example, it's just had one of them that immediately blew up on the media for, it was the media blowing up on the Rocker Boy for, actually being a social face and getting the conversation rolling and taking the lead to help the media. And it's just like, and it got personal, and I'm just like, no, we don't have this at the table. So I had to eject the
I mean, rule number 1 is, like, I don't care if your characters get along, but players, you've got to get along.
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't even have to like each other, but you got to get along. You got to respect each
And
other.
even, before, and like, think about this, even, back in, before I even did virtual tabletop, you had to be in the room with everyone else. You had to get along with these people. You had to be okay with them.
Yeah, I feel like there was less conflict when that was happening.
Oh yeah,
between players, because
I miss having IRL games. I do.
Yeah,
but virtual helps it, and it gets more people to the table.
Virtual kept me sane during the pandemic. I'd like to get back with my virtual group, but Will here is the only one that I talk to on any kind of regular basis anymore because everybody's schedules are so fucked up. I love my players. I love my people. They're all friends of mine.
Well, if we didn't have one that was in a different continent.
Yeah. 2 of them. Because I ran 2 different games. One of them was from England, and then we played with his best friend, but he stepped out, and his best friend's from Australia. So, yeah.
Currently, the widest time zone I have of players, I have a player from, like in the Wednesday night crew, for anyone that watches the Wednesday night show, I have one player from Scotland, where she's a night shift worker. We've been friends for a long time before Cyberpunk. I was her Pathfinder game master, and that was before I even discovered who I was. So that's like 6 or 7 years ago now. Yeah. Hello, Lycris, one of my other players. And then I have another player that's all the way down in Chile. And then I think I have another group where we have a player from Alaska and another player that is over on the east end of Australia.
Yeah.
They
Damn,
just left, like, holy moly.
How the fuck do you schedule something like that?
My group tends to be a mixture of college students, night shift workers, and irregular schedule workers. Is a lot of what my people are.
Yeah, I guess they'd have to be, because that is all over the place.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
And then my Wednesday crew, it's just like I got like 3 different people across Europe, and then sprinkled across the United States as well. And I'm just like, well, I'm surprised we make this work. It's fancy. I love it.
So you kind of mentioned it, and you kind of touched on it. But as a professional GM, like, the reason I couldn't be a professional GM is because I would feel contractually obligated, and I have off days. I have days where I'm just not into it, and I don't know how I would handle that as a professional GM, because running a game, telling a story cooperatively, you gotta be there. If you're not 100%, it shows. It, like, the players will feel it, you'll feel it. So how do you deal with that as a professional GM?
Well, how I deal with it? Well, it's a job, and you know what? As my own boss, who has to pay my own paycheck and pay my own taxes and all that, I have decided I am going to give myself sick leave. So, I give myself sick days when I need to take a day off, and I will just tell the players, hey, we're going to cancel session today. I'm not feeling well. We're going to bounce back next week. And that's what happens. My players never, like, the professional GM that I go see, I mean, he has his off weeks as well. And I like to make the jokes of just like, oh, I'm going to start tweaking because I need my fix. But that's about it. I mean, and like my players will joke with me about it. But like, it never, nobody's ever hurt when the GM is not, like, when anyone's not feeling well. And sometimes if like the group's just kind of bleh that week, where it's just, we're not feeling it, sometimes we'll be like, okay, guys, I can host another game for you guys. I can, like, we could run it like other games as well. Which, I mean, hell, I've been hired to run Jackbox games for a group of people before, and it's just like, you know what? That's fine. We can have Jackbox night.
I'm gonna pretend I know what that is.
Jackbox. I guess to clarify, Jackbox games. It's a group. It's a group of party game packages on Steam that you can project out onto your TV, computer, and people use their phones to punch in a code, join a room, and we got a variety of games: puzzles, trivia, drawing games, other various games as well in there. And that's just, it is part of what I have to do as a GM. Is sometimes we pick up elsewhere. Sometimes I pull out a different game if we're not feeling Cyberpunk, or it's just like we're at a really important moment and we are missing our Nomad and our solo for this. I don't want to go into this without them, and it's just like, okay, well, let's grab.
That was going to be my next question: is what do you do when other people can't make it?
Well, sometimes some of the players are like, hey guys, I can't make it, but go ahead with the investigation. My character's wandering off elsewhere for a moment. I got side business to do. And then they'll just be like, "Hey, my character is doing this," and then they disappear for the time being. And we've always made it make sense, and the rest of the players, like, if it is times where it's just like in between major missions, or it's like during a major mission but doesn't require certain people being present, like perhaps the rocker boy, the media, and the lawman are present, but the solo and the nomad aren't, and these guys are just going to follow up on a couple leads. It's like the solo and the nomad are off to go see the Aldecados about picking up some stuff from wood chippers. So we're gonna go look into this. We'll compare notes after. So,
yeah,
that's how it is.
So it works pretty much the same as any other table then.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I was just
really curious about that.
I just don't get paid by that player that week, and okay. Such is the way of doing business. And if it's just a situation where like maybe like half the party is present, I'm like, okay, guys, here's some pre-gens, and I found this awesome scream sheet. Let's run this scream sheet. And that's also ways that I've helped prepare myself for like Gen Con and PAX Unplugged as well. It's just like, all right, guys, we're gonna play through this mission. And just so that way I can learn before convention, and you guys get a little sneak peek at what's happening, because we were given permission to do so from on high when we were getting ready. So that being said, like that's just kind of part of how I've been able to keep things afloat, and I've been at it for apparently 2 years now, and it was just like, oh wow, when did we get here?
So this is full-time, part-time?
Right, it is full-time for me. I am also in the middle of maybe trying to find a little part-time gig as well to fill in on the side, but like the job itself does pay for a majority of my bills. Partially while my wife and I are working on getting ourselves back on our feet here in Phoenix after having to get out of the Midwest.
Yeah, because you just moved out there, right? How many games
a week?
Mm-hmm. What?
Sorry.
I was going to say, how many games a week do you end up running?
Okay, so let's see. I got my professional game on Monday evening. I've got the local game of like all the new Arizona people that come play on Tuesday night, which that's a shorter one, just 3-hour bites for these guys. Normal sessions go for 4. I've got my Wednesday crew, which has been my longest running one in like Wednesday afternoon, like just before the Forlorn dopes here, and then I've got my Wednesday evening show. And then I've got my Friday night or Friday afternoon game now because I'm in the Pacific time zone. And then I've got my Saturday evening game. So 6 games a week right now.
Damn. And how many of those do you get paid for?
1, 2, 4. 4 of the 6.
Jesus Christ. That's...
So you're starting to think of the professional GM there, Derek?
I was until then, because I can't. My creative juices have slowed to a trickle. And
I started off 1 game a week. I started at 1 game a week while I was working a full-time job, doing 12-hour nights. And I'm like, I want a GM. I can't find players. Start playing games. Here we go. Because like my old crew, we kind of all had to go our separate ways. So it's just like, okay. All right. So I became a professional GM, and I got my Wednesday crew, and then some people were like, hey, do you have another game opening up? And I'm like, oh, I could probably do Saturday evening before work. And so I did. And then another crew was just like, hey, do you have any more openings coming up? And I'm like, well, the demand's going up, so I need to make more supply. So then the Friday game opened up, and then suddenly it was like, I need a little more income. Now that I'm out here, so while I'm working on getting some form of work, why don't I just do this full time and see how this goes?
Yeah.
And my wife and best friend and his wife have been super supportive of me doing this. Then I opened up the Monday night game, and that's kind of what I've had going on.
Okay.
Oh shit! I mean, that's
where do I
awesome. If it's working for you, it's working for you.
where do I find the time, PWB? Well, compared to the before times when I was working for working a security job where it was 12-hour nights, and then you come in when they call
I
for
have
you. It was like,
been there and done that.
oh yeah. Surprisingly, working for the big three was a lot better than one of the smaller companies. One of the smaller companies, it was just like, hey, Diamond, I know you are. It's your one day off a week. Do you think you can come into work? The other guy said that his tummy hurts, and I'm like, overtime it is. Um, it was good while I was there, but it was not good for my health. And also, like, on top of this game, I have a normal work schedule. I actually get to see my wife. Like, I'm
That's a
not,
plus.
I'm not up at night and she's up during the day, and like, we actually can see each other, and I think it's been a lot better for us as well. Um, and also part of it is just scheduling. I have a very, hard block scheduling, and I know my scheduling can be a little weird, and I thank you two for being that flexible with me.
Oh, well, no problem. Thank you
Oh,
for joining us. Um, yeah, so you kind of also have your live
Oh,
play that you started with. Sorry, gotta get closer to the microphone.
okay.
So you started with the live plays on CNU,
Yep.
kind of one of the first ones. Um, what do you think? Because I think you ran what, 2 or 3 campaigns?
I ran 3. I ran Eddie's and Elflines, Cyberpunk Shanghai, and then also did Shock and Awe.
Right. So what do you think is the difference between doing a live play and doing, or running as a professional, right? That isn't live.
So live games, I put on the showmanship. You gotta get the crowd into it. You gotta get the players into it, and I also, one of the big things I do with my streams is I try to keep as much of like what's going on behind the screen present to the player or to the audience, so that way they can learn how to play the game, because that is something I find important, is accessibility for the new people. Some people learned how to, like, I don't reveal enough information that you can just watch my streams and be like, okay, that's how I play Cyberpunk Red. It's like, oh, so this is what that means in the book. That's kind of how I've always looked at these live plays, and also creating interesting, fun stories that are outside Tales of the Red or the Scream Sheets, and showing this is like, hey GMs, this is some stuff that you can do. I mean, hell, my best friend, Emeron, one of his games, one of the parties just dropped a second nuke in Night City, right over NorCal military base. Um,
mm,
and then I sent my crew in the year 2041 to find a competitor project of another Arasaka crew that was supposed to be a competitor to Soul Killer, because a Militech exec wanted it and was like, "Hey, you guys sound like, look to the other exec, just like you are in a deep hole of debt. What if I could get you a buyout? Just do this job for me." And now this current one, they're dealing with, okay, what if someone puts a really addictive drug out onto the street that is different than blue glass, black lace, or anything else? And the initial one was meant to just pacify crime, give the NCPD a little bit of breathing room. And then someone else started cooking it, and people are now dying because they're addicted and they need it. That is the story that's being told right now. Meanwhile, professionally, I am teaching these players how to play the game, not how to GM the game. These guys are showing up to play a game where they are expecting me to be ready, fluid, and just going. There is only focus on them, and that's what I deliver. I teach them some of the new stuff that comes out. Like, I've just started teaching stealth net running. Thank goodness we got stealth net running. I've been wondering when that would come in. But we also, with the professional games compared to my live plays, it is very much more where my pacing with live streams is very much like I have a certain time window that I'm trying to meet of like up to 4 hours, and then that's everybody's cut time, so that way they can go do their thing. I always stick around for my players a little while after to, consult with them, check in, and that's another part of being a professional GM I find important is sometimes these players, it's the only time they can talk to you. And let's say, message you or reach out at a different time. I always like to leave that little extra time at the end to be able to talk to them. And same goes for my my live players, but we always have a very clear conversation before we even start the show. Session 0.5 is what I like to call it. Of like, all right, guys, this is kind of what I'm throwing at you guys. I'm not going to give you any further details, but this is kind of what to expect. These are the triggers. These are the content warning. Do I need to change anything with the production? Meanwhile, with professional games, this is what you're going to expect at my table. We can talk about it. If something comes up, please come see me, and we will discuss it. So, I am open to all my players, but I tend to stick around to teach my paying players more about improving and other mechanics that, sometimes some players just can't get a hold of, and that's okay.
Well, I think that's and it definitely a great outlook how you do things when you have live play to teach as a GM, and then using your paid profession to teach players how to be players, and seeing those two avenues. But yeah, so from my gaming career, the concept of a paid GM is always weird, mainly because as a game, well, I'm sure Derek can agree with this. When we were growing up, gamers weren't viewed as cool people. Or even people.
It was it was an invitation to get beat up, really.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
it's kind of weird how being a geek is now not only tolerated but somehow cool. And like, how the fuck did I miss out on that shit? What the hell? I was carrying this flame, this torch, through the mire, and now these kids got it so easy.
I know us kids have it so easy. I do find that the ttrpg community now faces new challenges, and I'm sure you guys see it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how spicy I can get over here on the Forlorn dopes, but some people have heard it over on my channel specifically. But like seeing certain corporations just be like, well, we have a loyal player base, so we can maybe let the quality slide here. We can maybe only put this virtual. We can offer them, a 50th anniversary miniature that is only available on a proprietary tabletop. Man, that sounds oddly familiar, but I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah.
That that is something that personally I am a strong advocate against. Is I want, like, where, yes, back then, us gamers, it was, we were bullied because we were gamers, and now I'm just kind of seeing, just like, now these people are just kind of taking advantage of
Well,
some.
the
Well,
problem with the geeks was we came into money because we love
Yeah,
technology and computers and all that
and
other stuff that's now is a higher paying job. So now that we are now grown adults versus the kids that we were, and we still like our toys, and we're willing to pay good money for those toys.
yeah, and I can understand, like, if, like, certain groups, they make miniatures by hand, like, they print, but they do everything by hand, even down to the paint. Totally get it. You are paying that artist for their work. um but when I look at, like, certain books where it's just like you are paying $50 for a supplement, not even the core book, I well, minimum $50 for it. It's something I just can't get behind, because,
Yeah.
like, certain stuff I'd seen for some certain, high, like, very popular ttrpgs, it was just like,
Ah,
I'm glad our supplements are only $40,
yeah. Trust me.
and they're kind of
Don't even get
robust.
into the wargaming with Games Workshop.
I
Um,
I find, we one of my friends does, like, a lot of painting of, like, Warhammer miniatures, and it is so cool to see people, like, paint their armies, and sometimes I'll just sit there and watch people do it live on stream. It is so good to watch, but, like, yeah, and part of one of the things that I advocate for, even as a professional GM, I know I'm charging you to come play at my table, partially because the service I require, or the service I am providing. But I always believe in ease of access into games. One of the things I like with Cyberpunk Red, all you need is the core rulebook. That's all you need to play the game. Like, that's what I started with, was the core rulebook. We didn't have Street Stories. We didn't have Black Chrome. We didn't have a whole slew of DLC. But the DLC is awesome. The fact that Artal just keeps putting free stuff out, like,
right, but you don't have to
compared,
dig through 50 books just to create a character.
yep.
exactly. I mean, now you kind of can, to a degree, dig through, like, all the DLCs, find stuff you like. And I find, some people build some really cool concepts, like, okay, this one weapon that I never see anyone use, what can I do with it? Um, I've seen the nomadic, or the nomad pneumatic rifle come into play with one of our players a couple of times, and it's fun watching that go on. Um, but also, on top of that, I would like to point to, uh, now that I'm looking at my shelf, we've got, Stockholm Cartels, Cyborg. It's a game
Yeah.
in a book. It's in a little book, and all you need is some dice, some
Yeah,
notebook
it's a
paper.
pretty nice presentation.
Yeah, beautiful book too. Same with Death in Space, Blade Runner. The core rulebook, you have everything in there you need to play Blade Runner. But given having the starter kit is nice, because it does give you case 1 and then Fiery Angels as case 2. Like, having those as well is fantastic, but that is something I always look for in games, is, can you play the game with the core rulebook? And those are the games that I advocate for.
Sure.
And, the cost of entry, because, gamers like me, I kind of looked at my thin paycheck, and I looked at that core rule book, and I was like, is this something I'm willing to buy for $60?
Yeah.
And after I looked at the PDF, it's like, yeah, this is something I'll buy for $60, because it's everything I need to play the game.
Yeah, and then there's, the whole digital, which still think some of the digital is like way overpriced for some products, but you know, you're really paying for the game mechanics. And, you know, the paper is just extra. It's
And
how I see
also,
it.
you know, all the artists that, you know, put
Yeah.
their blow life into the games. And then, like, talking with Winter J, I don't know if any of you guys caught that interview, but like the fact that like turnaround time on a piece of art is like a couple weeks before each check-in,
Yep.
and like it gets like 4 or 5 passes, sometimes up to 7. Like these people aren't just, you know, putting together like a doodle and then throwing it into the book. It is very much they spend time with their art medium to make it happen, whether it be watercolor, oil painting, like the Dragoon that's on the Interface Red Volume 3 cover, which I've gotten to see a picture of the actual painting in Rob's office. It's really, really sick. But,
Yes. So for us, we interviewed Mike Jackson, who was an illustrator for some of the original Cyberpunk interior. So he did a lot of line work. And of course, the issue back with those supplements was color cost, and it cost a lot. So to see the new day and age that you now have full color inside the books is great to see, and I think that's kind of why it's a more superior product, and why the price has gone up, because you're paying for that. And yeah, we also talked to
Higher quality paper. We talked to Doug Anderson,
yeah,
who was
and-
the cover artist for like the majority of the old Cyberpunk 2020 stuff.
and he would talk about the deadlines, and like, yeah, he's actually was a professor of illustration for 30 years. And he says, yeah, deadlines you have to meet no matter what as an illustrator, and be prepared for it.
Because I had seen the 2020 books at Gen Con, PAX U. PAX U was kind of more that weekend where I actually had some time to really look at these books. My budget's a little tight, so it was just like one of these books at a time, and hopefully find a little more. But like glossy, full color covers like that, probably back then in the 90s, probably weren't cheap to print, you know, en masse.
I mean,
so, yeah.
There were only a handful of gaming companies that even attempted full color illustration on the interior of a book.
Yeah.
I mean, off the top of my head, I can only think of TSR, and then Wizards of the Coast, Vampire, the Masquerade, and their line, the whole White Wolf
World of
thing,
World Darkness, yeah.
and West End Games with their with Star Wars and stuff. Those are the only companies I can think of off the top of my head that put out full color supplements.
Yeah, FASA had color, but it was only for a couple pages inside.
Yeah.
Which was kind of like Chrome 1, right? And which Chrome
Chrome
1
had color.
Yeah. Well, it was part color, part line drawing.
Okay. Anytime I had gotten to the booth, the Chromebooks were always gone by the time I got over there. Though, my wife, who is a big fan of Mecha, got her a book of Mechton Zeta, and like even the artwork in there.
Yeah.
You know, kind of along the same lines. Like, I totally get it. And even then, like, the illustrations were immaculate. For, you know, black and white printing back in, you know, I'm not sure. How early did Cyberpunk 2020 start? I know I am really showing how, like, young I am.
Came out into...
Cyberpunk
Go ahead.
1989.
Okay, all right, so... Yeah, 1989, 1990, so... for the 90s, I mean, it looked fantastic, and like even still, like it is nice to dig into it, and we even see that for those of you guys who may not be aware, you can find more of these illustrations in like the 12 days of insert,
Yep.
like either gun miss, cyber miss, or gear miss.
Yep.
Those are 2020 illustrations in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting talking to some of these guys about the industry back then and finding out and seeing the evolution now what it is, which is just gorgeous. I mean, I love the art of Red, and how amazing the art looks like. Because even though the interior art for some of the supplements for Cyberpunk 2020, a little sketchy on some of those. But TSR and then of course Wizards of the Coast were kind of the guys who had the best art. And now, in my opinion, I think Artausarian is
Like
pushing out much better art.
Bad Moon Studio is a small studio of two that bring in other people. Like they did, I think they've done like most of the cover arts. I don't know if they've done all of them, but most of the cover arts for the major books, including which I don't know if you guys had seen it, but they had released a picture of what the cover art for Night City 2045 looks like, and that's also Bad Moon. Which
It looks pretty good. It looks fantastic, but I will say that the something about the AV and this, like the focus of the picture, it just looks kind of off to me. I can't put my finger on it, but it's fantastic art. I don't know.
I guess like looking down from the top of it, yeah, it looks a little flat, but to be honest, it really gets that like thin look of the I think it's like the Aerobox or the Destination. They're sitting on a
It's not
Destination.
that the AV itself like looks wrong. It just like something of,
The perspective.
I don't know, perspective. Like I don't know. The way it's flying just looks weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, also with the way the jets point on the AV, where it's like pointing out in the four non-cardinal directions of the vehicle. Yeah, I could kind of see it. However, I guess I do have a question for you two.
Sure.
Now that we're here, this is just more when I've asked this to others, looking at Cyberpunk 2020 and going into Cyberpunk Red, what are some details that you missed from 2020, but like there's no way that it really would have fit in Red? Like there's a reason it stayed back in 2020. Well,
I missed the lethality of 2020. In fact, I would say that's my biggest criticism of Red is it lost its edge.
I don't think it differ on that opinion, but specifically for me, there was some game mechanics within combat, right? So with combat, it streamlined it and simplified it, so you didn't have as many dice rolls, but it also lost some of the, I don't know, complexity that I found 2020 to kind of view. I mean, getting rid of a lot of those modifiers, beautiful, right? Not have to rolling location for every hit, beautiful. Or tracking, the location and the SDP on the location or the SP on the location as it gets tabletted. But for me, like things like either I'm in cover or I'm out of cover. I can't shoot around, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's I mean, they could have borrowed the mechanics from other games and used like a penalty die or a bonus, because I know I see a lot of the game mechanics now are trying to get rid of the math when it comes to combat because you want to have that quickness.
Yes.
which combat you kind of have, and trust me,
I
2020 can bog down a
I have been
lot.
through some slugfests in 3.5 and 1E,
Yeah.
where it feels like combat takes hours to resolve. Um, which I totally get that, but I do feel that, like, especially like with like SP or SDP and also like hit locations. I don't know if you guys have played Fallout 2D20, but I don't mind, like, sometimes determining like hit locations if you're trying to go for something specific, or if it's you are just firing at them but not firing center mass at someone. I think maybe having a little bit more dynamic targeting is kind of nice. But also, having the armor where I have made it a point to where not all my enemies are running around in like Kevlar or light armor jack all the time. No, most booster gangers you'll see leather jackets at best. But also at the same time, some of my players have brought up the point of, like, even though they are wearing a leather jacket, like, my rifle should have dropped them in one shot. And it's like, yeah, I can feel it. I can feel it.
Right. And I think the other
Well,
thing I miss is the customization, and 2020 didn't have it fully, but it did have some, right? Of I can make my own drug, I can make my own program, I can make my own vehicle, and generate that. You could kind of do some customization on weapons to kind of turn them into something new. Uh, so I think that has kind of changed over the DLCs. But
Yeah, no place
initially
like
that
I
kind of
think no
was,
place like home does
yeah,
answer that one.
yeah. Which, of course, and I'm ashamed to say I don't play a lot of red because my players are old like me and prefer 2020.
Okay.
Tried to get them into, but it happens. So that's one thing. I mean, I try to run red when I go to cons. I actually was at Gen Con 2 years ago. Games Artel Sorian, and I like I said, I enjoy that it's a lot quicker. And I know, Derek, I don't think you've played red yet, have you?
I mean, I've given it some cursory, like quick runs. I prefer 2020 as far as the rules go. I like the hit locations. I like the crunchier aspects of it. Some of it needed to be streamlined a little, and I did that with IU. But for the most part, I don't know. I prefer 2020. I
Yeah.
prefer the lethality of it and the drama that lethality creates.
Right.
Opportunities for drama. I don't like hit points. I don't even like using the words hit points. I think
Wounds sound a lot more hardcore. Or wound level.
Oh yeah.
yeah, sure. Uh, I think that lethality was one of the things that set Cyberpunk so far away from every other game system out there. And so then moving away from that to a much more, I'm not a modern gamer. I'm not. I've tried to be, but I'm just not. I don't follow the new ethos where everything should be simple and fast. I've tried these systems.
And
I've tried systems that didn't have any combat rules. It was just all narrative bullshit, and it's not for me. I like a level of crunch.
like, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy some crunch. I just find that, like, I like having just enough like red is just that right amount of crunchy for me, where it's not like roll d20, add this small number, that is your result. Like
Sure.
it's still a lot more skill based yet. Now hit points, I totally get like why the health track does sound interesting, but it can be a little much, especially if we're taking a look at players that are maybe coming over from hit point based systems. But I do appreciate that they do set modifiers, so it's like the fighter is still not swinging at full power at one hit point. You are struggling with staying up at that point.
Right.
I mean,
Well, I like that every hit you took, like depending on location, it could have some very serious and downward spiral based effects. Like if you in 2020, if you got shot in the leg, it was different than getting shot in the arm. And those hit locations, they added more than they took away. I don't know. That's just how I feel. Like I said, I like the crunch. I like the Cyberpunk was fucking deadly.
oh yeah,
Which to me, I think allowed, and especially when I play it, right, is having that deadliness was a lot different than any other game, because often in the other games you would like, okay, how do we deal with this situation? Through combat. Whereas Cyberpunk was like, do you really want to get into a firefight?
We avoid that combat at all costs.
Yeah, I guess part of me, I've still seen lethality in red.
Yep.
Partially just because
Yeah, Oscar brings up.
I guess
injuries.
there has not, like, even outside crit injuries, my players have still walked away from fights where it's just like, let's not do that again. As they're crawling away with like 5-6 hit points at best, and it's like, yeah, you need to go see a doc before you get anything else done. You're not looking good after that, because part of what I find with red, like where there was all that crunch in 20 that narrated a lot of things, it gives me I feel as like GM, it does give me some fiat to just be like, look, normally you're at 50 hit points, you are at 10 hit points, you aren't feeling too hot at all. Like there's no way that like there's no way a hike across town is going to be an easy walk for you. You're probably gonna have to take some time on that.
Right. And Oscar brought up a good point about net running. So net running did change, but I see, when I've seen the debate between why red is such a better system for net running, and is because now you have the net runner involved with the group and going with the group, as opposed to sitting at home. My games, the net runner never, well, but I shouldn't say never sat at home, but most of the time that the net runner had to be there, because a security system is not necessarily going to be online, so you have to use detect remotes to be able to get in there. A valuable piece of data is not going to be connected to the system. So you need the netrunner to be in there and hacking into the system. So I always made sure that the netrunner was involved. Now, when it came to the actual netrun, that can definitely bog down, especially when you have a netrunner trying to get trace. And I think that mechanic probably could have changed or been a lot more streamlined. Versus invading a fort, because with any map you can always theater of a mind it, and I don't think a lot of people viewed net running that I can just theater of mind. I don't have to have a grid. I don't have to and present it as, okay, you enter this lavish Egyptian temple, and you see two Anubis statues guarding a sarcophagus. and you use your Sia to see that the Nubuses are actually Cerebuses, and they're coming to attack you. You could definitely run it a lot
Mhm.
quicker. But when I saw Red, it also made me think back to the original box set of 2013 and how that system kind of did net running, in which it kind of was this node tree. However, unlike Red, where Red kind of is a
Elevator
well,
is
it's an
what Red is.
elevator. It's also like a binary tree type of structure versus 2013, which you could loop back into different nodes, um, and it was a little more complex of a system. So it was. I mean, I definitely see Red as a bit of improvement because it got rid of the whole "hey, I have to go out and build my trace." And also got rid of that misconception that netrunners stayed at home all the time. Nah, not in my games.
Yeah. Well, actually, that does bring up something a friend of mine cooked up. They made a net architecture where it does follow the binary like elevator that is Cyberpunk Red, but because of how massive Rockland's campus is, not every building is going to be on the same net architecture, but you still might be able to connect to that building through the intranet of that area. However, you had to reach a certain node, and you must be able to get back to that node. And once you leave that net architecture, it resets when you leave to go to the next, to hop over to the next building's net architecture.
Yep.
And it's basically island hopping back and forth, and it's just that is something that I hope that maybe we could see as more dynamic net architectures show up, because I love net running. That's my main. Part of why we named the show Wireheads. Both of us are Netrunner mains. Um, I would love to see the return of Data Fortress. I would love to see if maybe localized Data Fortress is going to be a thing. It would be so much fun to try to break into one.
Right.
Probably get fried in the process, but it'll be fun.
Yeah. And I think the other thing with net running was never, as a referee and GM, you never have, if you're running 2020, never have a player who isn't willing to know net running system like the back of their hand.
Yeah.
Um,
Whatever
I
system for net running you're using, they need to know that shit.
Yep.
Yep.
Just like in Dungeons and Dragons, if you're a wizard, you better know your spells. If you're a paladin, you better know all your abilities. Because I'm not going to waste, because that was the thing that I think really bogged down and why a lot of people complained about net running, was because if you had a player who didn't know what they were doing, they were going to suck up most of the time. And if someone and if the GM was kind of half knew the rules, it makes it even worse for the whole group to deal with. So, but yeah, net running definitely definitely had a I like the new approach with it with Red. Going on to 2077, I'm not sure I really like quick hacks as a game system. I mean, it's great in a computer game. I don't see it, and I've played with the rules. With when actually my feedback to Jay Gray changed some of the programs from initial launch of edgerunners, was that quick hacks can be very deadly and very abused, especially either as a GM or as a player. So they built in some more mechanics to help prevent it, but the concept of there is no save for this death spell is not always a good thing to do in a game.
Yeah. Like,
I love the changes made to net running in Red. as a mechanic system, I will agree that the mechanics for net running are ridiculously superior to 2020's net running. Although I don't care for the way the net itself is presented in either Red or 2020. It makes me question too much how the world functions, like how commerce functions, how corporations remain all powerful. If I don't know, these are the things that make my head hurt when I think about them. But the rules are fantastic.
Which I imagine we'll probably get to see more of. I hope we get to look more at like technology during the time of the Red, which I know there's some discussion. Like if you look at the back of Black Chrome, where with certain lifestyles you could afford to send a message to another city for so much, and that's like on 600 eddies. For corporations who have massive slush funds, it's just looking at WorldSat, just like, all right, give us our own private lines to be able to jump stuff between air gaps, make it happen. I could imagine that is something that they do, and that like with Ziggurat running a lot of the like local air gaps, same thing. The transfer of data happens, is brokered through these corporations, and I guess like one thing I've done with Red is I've always added set dressing to net architectures, gave them personality. I actually gave a net architecture a personality once. Really freaked that netrunner out. It was a great time. And that's how they met the Reaper.
I can imagine.
Oh, it was a great time.
Yeah.
Great time. But also one of the other things that I do like with Red is just, I guess where it does lack in crunch, it provides a lot of tools for narrative storytelling on the end of like, yeah, you may have survived this encounter, but maybe that important item you always carry with you, unfortunately, that picture that you always carry of your kid now has a giant gaping bullet hole punched right through where, your wife and your kid are.
Yeah, that's
have a little humanity loss.
And that's another thing that I liked that Red did was the humanity loss of situations and events,
and
as opposed
also
to just
humanity gain as well.
Yeah, as opposed to just you lose humanity just for cyberware.
Mm-hmm.
I know there was some third-party products, specifically from not Atlas Games, the other one, Ionis, who are now DreamPod 9. Yeah, they had some. They really delved into cyberpsychosis,
Grim Cyber Tales,
and bringing up various mechanics to kind of portray or give. And again, it was more crunch, but just to give an example of how you become psychotic, and what kind of psychosis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they also introduced stress, which was another concept, which
stress is so good. I love stress as a mechanic.
Yeah, pick up. I think it's Dark Metropolis or Grimm's Cyber Tales. They basically created a system for stress, and basically use drugs, alcohol, and other stuff to alleviate it.
You can
how much
self-medicate.
Sleep, yeah.
It's always a good idea.
I mean, and I know we mainly talk Cyberpunk between our channels, but Blade Runner, stress is basically a secondary health pool. And especially for you poor players that choose to play replicants, your stress pool is maybe you get 2 points of stress before suddenly you snap. And then it's either you lay on the ground and just let whatever happen. You just start going into a tantrum of just, or for humans just walking off the job. Just I don't care. I don't care at this point. That is something I like to see with stress. It's not just someone having a psychotic break, but maybe it's just, this is too much. I can't do this anymore. Right. And then they have to, suddenly more time is put on, is lost on the clock because you have to go deal with your problems before you can come back to this.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you're not going to hear us complain about you talking Blade Runner.
Oh, good. Okay. The way that Free League did the investigation system for it, which it is,
it's nice.
It's gorgeous. And also like having all like the evidence cards that literally you need to run like a magnifying glass over to just get a good look at every detail. It's so good. And even like N. Jolly and Linda Evans, when they did their investigation system where it runs as a hit point track, it's like, this could work for a group of players that maybe investigation is not their strong suit. And I'm glad to have those tools, but I do like putting the breadcrumbs out there, letting them find it. And
yeah, I like giving them a chance to solve the mystery the old-fashioned way before, I just have them make some rolls and give it to them.
And I guess, like when we were talking about things that people have made, like with homebrew, I mean, I'm willing to let something I've got cooking in the back out. We don't have disease.
Yeah.
I want diseases. I want medtechs to be a little bit more scared. Like, medtechs are already, I understand you're wearing, the big target on your back, but medtechs, there's other terrible things out there you're going to have to fight. And it's like,
yeah,
fine, I'll make it myself.
Yeah, that was the
briefly about... Go ahead.
The one thing that was missing in 2020 was there was no medtech supplement ever produced. And I know...
Ever.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Well, weren't medtechs under the same umbrella as techs back in 2020?
And techs really didn't get a book either. So, all the techs. And I know that Derek Quintanar said that was kind of one of his regrets, that they never got that done. For
every time we talk to these guys, I keep hoping that one of them will be like, yeah, we had this book almost written, but things just fell through. And I've got the manuscript right here. I'm like, oh, that's the dream. The closest we've ever gotten was Mark Cook with his Chrome page put out a really fantastically detailed description of a Trauma Team AV and every little last piece of fucking gear that it carried, like down to like forceps and shit, and where they're kept. It's fantastic. He's also the guy responsible for creating the first compilation timeline where everything from 2013 to Deep Space, they included the timeline on that.
That's
so
awesome.
2013, yeah.
Yeah.
Chrome page, check it out. It's a good stuff with Mark Cook and his Days of Future Past timeline. There's a little bit of medical information there as well, but it made me want to do a full-on medtech and techies combined source book for Data Fortress, but brain fell through and body.
It's a shame that we lost it, but didn't Chris Conkle have like one or two articles in which he like went into deep medtech stuff?
Chris Conkle gave us Gary Ocelot gave us the drug rules,
right?
Which to this day have never been topped, and anybody who even attempts to do it, like even with Interlock Unlimited and Seth Skorkowski, we basically just updated his rules to Interlock Unlimited. Nobody else, like other people who do drug rules, like I've never seen anything that equals it. I don't remember Conkle
He had an
at
article.
2K20. I don't remember him.
I remember him having, and it wasn't necessarily rules. It was more dialogue of what,
Oh yeah,
how it would.
there was
present.
that.
Yeah. So he basically wrote an essay.
One of the inspirations, though, for like this homebrew I am kind of working on, though, I was introduced to a couple of games called The Division, and premise of the game is a biochemist or a bioscientist decides to take some of, I think it's like 9 or 10 of the deadliest diseases in the world and create something and put it on a bunch of dollars.
Like a chimera.
Basically produced a chimera virus and put it onto some dollar bills before dying himself from his own disease and put them in one of the biggest department stores in New York City on the day of Black Friday. And it's just like, okay, but what if we had diseases like that?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, carbon plague.
Yeah, carbon plague was never fleshed out. Well, in Cyber Generation,
but like it was fleshed out in Cyber Generation.
yeah.
But we also had like AIDS 2, which was never even like it was mentioned a couple of times, but was never never given any like real description. There were a couple of bioplagues that cropped up all across the United States that were just like treated as like temporary anomalies. I made the mistake of starting to play The Division 2 about a month before the pandemic hit. So I was deeply into the game, and then all of a sudden,
I just started playing like the Division and the Division 2 like this summer, and I was working security during the pandemic, and I remember driving through downtown and just closed storefronts, just dark at 9 o'clock at night, into my 12-hour, like 2 hours into my 12-hour shift, and it's just downtown is dark. There's nobody at the bars. There's nobody. It was ghostly quiet except for the blinking and tapping of the walk signal, and it was just whoa.
It was the pandemic, especially at night. It was a surreal time.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I live in freaking Arkansas, and it was ghost town. It was nothing, nobody, nowhere, except every morning at this little restaurant called the Buttered Biscuit. I swear to God, it's run by a cult, because every morning that place was packed to the gills. I don't know how they got away with it. I don't know what their food tastes like, because I'm not going to go into that cult bullshit. I recognize that's not a healthy place.
Meanwhile, here I was from the Midwest. You have one bite of Casey's General Store pizza. It ruined pizza for me afterwards. Like
Casey's for a gas station pizza, it is amazing. It's not the best pizza I've ever had by any stretch, but it's better than any of the chains.
Yeah, like one of the fifth best performing pizza chain that just happens to be a gas station. Loved it.
That's crazy. I'll be ordering that as soon as the show's over, actually.
Oh, I miss it. But I suppose one last question that I bring from my dear friend Fish, who always wants me to ask other community members. What is your ideal sandwich? This is what is your ideal sandwich?
That is a tough question.
That is a tough question, because that all depends on the day of the week, basically.
And while you think on that, I'll answer PWB's question here. Diamond, what of the Red universe do you replace with your own universe? That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Oh, goodness. There is still 99-cent tea by Continental Brands.
That's fucking awesome.
It is one. It is 1 penny, and it's like sitting in a canoe. It's close to water.
You gotta go get yourself a Costco hot dog from an Eddie 50.
I had one for the first time this summer, and I'm like, okay, I see why there's a cult around the Costco hot dog.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good hot dog, and it's dirt cheap. Like, you can't beat that deal.
So I have one ask on like that question that you asked us. So what do you consider a sandwich? Is it meat in a bun or a bread, or is it a specific? Because I can tell you right now.
The pockets count. Does shawarma count?
Yeah, I mean, shawarma does count. If it's a pocket, it's a gyro. Is it like a gyro or anything like that?
Yeah. Well, I have my answer. It is going to be a nice, not a lobster salad lobster roll, but a hot lobster roll with the butter drenching the bread, and the bread's been grilled. That is my answer, a hot lobster.
Okay.
I mean, you'd never guess he lived near the coast.
I mean, I had Maine lobster once, and it ruined seafood for me. Oh,
I lived in Alaska, and in the 70s,
goodness.
And we would get Alaskan king crab for like 50 cents a pound. We'd eat it in front of the TV like popcorn, and I've never nothing has ever come close. So,
what's your sandwich,
my
friend?
favorite sandwich? I love a good Philly cheesesteak. I mean, but I recently found this place that does like an Asian, Mediterranean, Middle Eastern fusion thing, and the shawarmas that they put out, I've never had anything close. They're phenomenal. So that very specifically, Casa Donors, beef or chicken shawarma is my ideal sandwich.
Okay.
With
All
that,
right.
We're at time, so we usually last for 2 hours. So I guess.
Why couldn't you have asked me about soup?
Thank you so much, Diamond, for coming.
Of course.
So I have so you broadcast on Twitch a lot. I put your link to your Twitch channel on here, as well as the YouTube.
I am a mod for Cybernation Uncensored. I lurk in the backgrounds. I am always watching, folks.
As do we.
Yeah.
So your information is here, both your YouTube channel and your Twitch channel.
Also, check out Wireheads. You host it with Ron.
Yep.
Definitely a great show to watch, similar to our format.
It's good stuff.
Just sitting and just talking Cyberpunk and rambling quite a bit about that. Do you have any parting words?
I guess other than that, as always, stay safe out there, and take a chance to go GM, you players. Do it.
Yeah.
Dive in.
Give us forever GMs a break once in a while.
GMs, chain your players down and force them to run you on a game every now and then.
Yeah.
Dirty bastards.
Just show me what you've learned. Actually, that is a great learning experience. Have your players run a game so that you can see what they've learned. And
Also, so you can see what they want out of a game, because that's the real trick of GMing, is you will always run the game that you want to be in, that you wish you were playing.
Yes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
on that note, thank you again for joining us.
course.
We also like to thank Rob Mulligan and Cybernation Uncensored for hosting our podcast. I am Cybersmiley. I have a cyberpunk site called cybersmiley.net. In that site, there are web utilities for Cyberpunk 2020, as well as Cyberpunk Red, and also Cyberpunk Red Combat Zone. There's an armory build there.
Oh, Combat Zone's so good.
Yeah. So I made some tools for everything Cyberpunk. Also, I have my own Discord, as well as being on Cybernation's Uncensored's Discord. Plus, I'm pretty much almost on anything that has Cyberpunk as a Discord, unless I have yet to find it and join it. We're out on Reddit with the various Cyberpunk threads out there. Check me out there. I am not on Facebook. I am not on Twitter. I am not on Instagram. Experiences there, and I do care to. But I am on Blue Sky, and Blue Sky seems a little better than those platforms now. But who knows what will happen in the future. Wisdom?
All right. I am your co-host, Wisdom000. My name is Derek Bernier. I run Data Fortress 2020, the largest, most comprehensive Cyberpunk 2020 site online.
As well as an archive.
As well as an archive. I consider myself not only a source of content, but a historian for Cyberpunk, for the Cyberpunk franchise. In particular, a historian of online content, as well as the professionals who, through our show here, we've interviewed everybody.
Not everybody, but getting close.
No, but we'll get them all. We'll get them all. That's the goal. As I said, I run Data Fortress 2020. I'm also on Facebook, where I am the owner of the Data Fortress 2020 Facebook group. I am an admin or a moderator at the Cyberpunk 2020 Facebook group, as well as Cybernation's Facebook group. I can be found on Discord, mostly in either Cybersmiley's Discord or the Artalsorian Discord. I also frequent the Cyberpunk 2020 Red group and the Cybernation Uncensored group there, as well as a bunch of other groups. Basically, anything dedicated to the Cyberpunk franchise, game in particular. The same goes for Reddit. I lurk at pretty much all the Cyberpunk franchise-based Reddit threads. And I'm on Blue Sky as well. So you can reach out to us through any of these avenues if you have any comments, suggestions, criticisms, complaints. We love to hear from you. We love to talk Cyberpunk with just about anybody who will listen. So please reach out. And again, we'd like to thank Diamond Dust. Diamond, you're welcome back anytime. It has been a delight talking to you. And yeah. We will see you guys in 2 weeks.
In which we have another special guest.
Bye.
Yeah. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Cybernation Uncensored.